Welcome to JavaScript table. Today we'll be building a clock app or clock face, and we'll be deploying it in internet. Okay, so this is how the app is gonna look like. We have all the numbers on the outside. They are oriented perfectly, and we also have a small digital display here. And we have 3 hands here: hour, minute, and second hands. To build this, let's go ahead and go to our code editor. And let's create 3 files here. First of all, we're going to need a index.html, and the second one is style.css. Let's go ahead and create the third one. That's going to be scripts.js. Okay. Let's go to our index.html. I'm going to just close that one, and here let's go ahead and change the title to say clock app. And here let's go ahead and link with our CSS. And also let's go ahead and import our JavaScript in our head tag. And make sure to put differ at the end because we are importing it in our head tag. Okay, now let's go ahead and open it with our live server. Right now there's nothing here. To get it started, let's go ahead and create a div with the class name of clock. Okay, and here let's go ahead and create 3 divs for the hands. I'm going to call them hands EL, and to give them individual name, I'm going to say our hand, and let's go ahead and give the ID of our hand, and we'll be copying this a couple of times for minute and second. So let's go ahead and change the class name from hour to say minute on the second one, and also the ID of minute hand. Let's go ahead and do the same for second. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and create another div for our numbers, and we'll give it an ID of numbers. Okay, and we'll be generating all the numbers from JavaScript, so we don't have to copy and paste a bunch of div and spans with different numbers in there. Okay, after our numbers, let's go ahead and create another div for our digital clock. So I'm just going to call it digital. And here let's go ahead and create a span, and we'll give the class name of digital EL, and also to give them individual class name, I'm going to call this digital hour. And we'll also give them an ID of hour, and let's give some placeholder. We'll just say 00. Let's copy and paste this a couple of times, and we'll be changing hour to minute, and here, and we'll do the same for second. Awesome. To get the dividers here, as you can see, we have some dividers here. We'll be creating another span. We'll give the class name of digital divider, and we'll simply put colon as the placeholder. Okay, and let's go ahead and copy this one and paste it right in between minute and second. Let's save that. And last but not least, we're going to create a last div called brand, and we'll just say brand here, and we'll create a span with the class name of brand name. We'll keep the brand name here. Awesome. To make this video shorter, what I've done is I have already created a styles.css and upload it on GitHub. So you can just scroll down to description and you can find a link to that file, and you can just go ahead and copy that and paste it to your style. So let's go ahead and do that first. I have copied my styles.css. I'm just going to bring it here and paste it here. Okay, so this is all the CSS we have here. Let's go ahead and save this and go back to our file. So you can see we already have a nice looking clock app with the shadow that kind of gives like a 3D vibe to me, you know. So after this, we have completed all the HTML, and like I said, we're going to populate all the numbers from JavaScript. So let's go to our JavaScript and let's do that first. Let's go ahead and work on our numbers. Here I'm going to grab our numbers div from HTML. So let's just go here and we'll create a variable called numbers, and that's gonna be document.getElements by ID, and here we'll just say numbers. Okay, let's go down here and create a for loop. Here we'll say I equals to 1, I is less than or equal to 12, and I plus plus. Okay, let's go in here, and here we will we'll be creating, so I've done here is there's a span. Let me go to inspect and show you guys here. There's a div called number el and number 12, and inside of that we have our count span, which contains the number here. And I've had to create two different elements here because first of all we're rotating it in certain degree to place them right in their spot, and if we do that, all the numbers are also rotated towards the center. And to undo that, I have created a span here which rotates backward of however degree it was rotated at first, so they will be oriented center, so that they're not rotated. So we're going to be doing just that. So first of all, we're going to create our count element here, this one right here. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll say const our count equals to we'll say document dot create element, and we'll be creating a span. And in here, in this span, we will do our count dot inner HTML equals to I. So whatever the I is, that's what inner HTML or our count is going to hold. Okay, and this loop will continue for 12 times. So every time, every iteration will get one number, but you may think it will run slower, but trust me, it won't be an issue. I've tested it with a very slow device and it works just perfectly fine. Okay, let's go down here and create a div to store this span. We'll call this number el equals to document dot create element, and we'll be creating a div here. Okay, and let's go down here and let's append our count inside of number el. So let's just do that. Number el dot append child, and here we'll say our count. Okay, and let's append this number el inside of our numbers. So let's just do that. Numbers, it's the same process. Append child, and we'll say number el. Let's go to our file here and save it here. If we do that, you guys should be able to see all the numbers coming up here. We have just generated all these numbers here. Okay, and to design these numbers, let's go ahead and give them class names. Okay, so for this hour count, I'm going to give a class name of, so let's do that, hour count dot class list dot add, and we'll give the class name of hour count with a hyphen in between. Okay, and for this number el, let's do that, number el dot class list dot add, and here I'm going to give a class name of number el but with a hyphen, and make sure to give the inverted commas or quotation mark, sorry, not inverted commas. And we'll also give this a secondary class name to make them individual. Okay, so for this one I'm going to erase this one, start this, and we'll say number hyphen $, curly braces, and here we'll say I. So whatever the I is, that's what the class name is going to be. Let's go ahead and save that, and as you can see, we have got all of the numbers styled, but they are all cramped at one place. To make them go around the clock, let's create a function here right below our for loop. We'll say function rotate numbers, and here we'll get number el and count, which is going to be I. Okay, so let's go ahead and go here, and we'll say const, and let's go ahead and rotate the numbers. Const rotate num equals to, we will say count times 30, will be multiplying by 30 degree, and here we'll say degree, and here let's go to our number el, let's go to our number el dot style dot transform equals to rotate in bracket, and here we will get whatever the value of this rotate num is. So we'll do the same thing here, we'll say rotate num. There we go, and let's go ahead and use this class up here. So here we'll say rotate numbers, and we'll pass number el and I. Let's go ahead and save that, and here we can see all the numbers go around the clock. Okay, and to make their orientation perfectly, like we talked earlier, to make something like this, let's go ahead and rotate, counter rotate the span with the same degree. Okay, so I'm going to create another function, and I'm going to call this fixed numbers, and here let's go ahead and do hour count and count, and here we'll say const fixed num equals to -1 times, we'll do the same thing, count times 30, but it's only going to be minus, and we'll do the same thing, we'll put degree at the end. Okay, and let's go ahead and style our count. We'll say our count dot style dot transform, we'll say transform equals to rotate and whatever the value of fixed num is. So we'll just do fix num. Okay, let's go ahead and use this function. Let's go down here and we'll call fixed numbers, and here we'll say hour count, and we'll pass in the value of I. Let's go ahead and save that. Now you can see all the numbers have been fixed and rotated properly. After this, let's go ahead and work on our digital number. Let's go ahead and access our digital number files or digital number elements. Here, let's do const our digital equals to document dot get elements by ID, and here we'll be accessing hour. Okay, and let's go ahead and copy this couple of times, and we'll change the hour to say minute, and we'll do the same over here. We'll change the hour to minute, and here let's go ahead and do this, and we'll change this to second. Okay, and right below this, let's go ahead and set interval to set interval, and here we'll say clock function, and we'll run it in every 1 second. Okay, let's go ahead and create that function, clock function, and right here let's go ahead and access the JavaScript date object. And let's go ahead and create our hour, minute, and second properties. We'll say time.get hours, and let's go ahead and copy this and paste it here, and we'll say this to minute, and this one is going to be minutes as well. Okay, after this, let's go down here and let's go ahead and start giving the functionality to our digital clock. And let's go ahead and do it right here. We'll say minute, or let's go ahead and do our digital dot inner HTML is going to be hour. Okay, let's go ahead and save that. Now we should be able to see the hour number here, but this this date function will return in 24-hour clock, but we want it in 12. So for that, we are going to create a variable, and this time we will be using let check hour equals to hour. Okay, and we'll come down here and we'll see if hour is less than 12 or not. We'll do if check hour. If it is over 12, we just want check hour. We will be taking out 12 from check hours, so we'll do minus equals to 12. Okay, and if we go ahead and save this now, we should be able oh, here minus equals to, here we have to say check hour. Okay, so if we do that, we should be able to see 2 over here. And let's go ahead and do the same for all minute and second as well. So we'll say minute digital equal dot inner HTML equals to minute, and we'll say second digital dot inner HTML equals to second. Let's go ahead and save that here. Now we should be able to see our current time here, but what I want to do here is put 0 in front if the number is less than 10. Okay, so for that, let's go ahead and use our if statement, and we'll start with our hour. So we'll say if check hour is less than 10, then we want to copy this one here, paste it here, but instead of this one, we will say 0 and $, curly braces, and here we'll say check hour. Okay, and if we go ahead and save this one here, we should be able to see 02. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this a couple of times. And here we will change this to this check hour to say minute, and here we'll change this to minute as well, and here we'll change this to minute. Okay, and I'm just going to do Control D here and change this to second, and I'll do the same one over here. Let's go ahead and save this here. Now we should be able to see 0 in front if the number is less than 10. Okay, so now we can move on to the next step, which is controlling the hands. And so for that, it's not too hard. Let's go ahead and get access to our hands element from HTML. So we can just do const our hand equals to document dot get element by ID, and here we'll say our hand. I believe that's what we have set it to. Let's go to our index.html and see what we have called it. Here we said our hand, minute hand, and second hand. So I think I was right. Okay, and let's go ahead and copy this one, paste it here, and let's go ahead and change this to minute hand, and this one as well. And we'll paste it one more time and change this to second. We'll say second hand. Okay, and after this one, let's go ahead and create the ratio file. So like how much should it rotate every second or every time this set function works. Okay, so for that, let's go ahead and do const, and I'm gonna call this, I'm gonna start with second, and we'll say second, rotate equals to second, and divide that by 60, and we'll be multiplying that by 360 later on. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. We'll do const minute rotate equals to second rotate, because we also want this to rotate with second. We don't want this to rotate after every minute. Okay, so this has to rotate every second, or like every iteration. Okay, so we'll do second rotate plus minute, and we'll divide that by 60 as well. Let's go ahead and do our hour. Equals to minute rotate plus hour, and we'll divide this by 12 because there's only 12 hours in our clock. Okay, and in order to actually move them, we have to go to our styles.css and change something in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and find our hands EL, because that's what we have called it. And here, let's go ahead and create a CSS variable. We'll call this rotation, and we'll set this to 0. And let's go down and try to find transform here. Okay, and right after translate x, which is -50, we're going to set a property of rotate, and we'll say calc, which will calculate the value, and we're going to access our variable. Okay, and here we can just go ahead and find to rotation, and I think we're missing braces here. Okay, and after that we will multiply that by 1 degree. Okay, So whatever the number that we pass in from our JavaScript, it's going to multiply it by 1 degree, and this rotate is going to calculate this and rotate it every second. Okay, and in order to rotate from the bottom, because by default they will rotate from the middle, this hand will start rotating from middle, we're going to have to change that to transform origin to bottom, because we want them to rotate from the bottom. Okay, let's go ahead and save this, and this is all the styles.css we're going to touch. Okay, let's go down here and we'll create a function, and inside a function we'll call this function move hands. Okay, let's go down here and we'll say move hands and rotate ratio. Okay, and inside of here let's go into move hands dot style, and we'll say set property, and we'll get the variable, we'll say rotate, or what do we call it? I think we call it rotation, and we'll set the value of this to whatever rotate ratio has passed into. So we'll say rotate ratio, and we'll multiply this by 360, because we have 360 degrees in one perfect circle. Okay, let's go ahead and save this one, and let's go ahead and access this move hands function we have just created. We'll say move hands, and we'll pass in second hand, and we'll say second rotate, and let's go ahead and save this. Now we should be able to see our second hand start moving. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this and paste it a couple of times, and we'll change the second to say minute. Go ahead and do the same thing here, and the last one hour, and this is going to be hour hand. Let's go ahead and save this. Now our clock is working perfectly, and if you guys noticed or not, every time we reload this clock will wait for 1 second before doing any actual functionality. To stop doing that, we have to call this function early on before the set interval calls it. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this one. Let's copy this and go down below here. Just go ahead and paste it and call this function before set interval calls it. Now if we do it, this should work very fast. Okay, awesome. Now we have our clock app working perfectly, and now let's go ahead and publish this clock app and search for netlify.com, and go to Netlify and log into there, or if you have not already, go ahead and sign up. After you have logged in, you should be able to see all of your, or if this is your first time, you should be able to see where you can create your first site, and if you have already used it before, you should be able to see your projects here. Here I have a video chat project which will be coming to YouTube pretty soon, and here let's go to sites, and here all we have to do is drag and drop our program folder. Okay, so I'm gonna do that real quick. Folder I have been working on. Here I have index.html, script.js, and styles.css. This is our whole clock app. Okay, I'm just going to drag and drop here, and it will say site has not been deployed yet, but it never takes more than a minute to deploy. So now let's go to site, change site name, and I'm just going to call this cool clock app. Okay, and let's go ahead and save this here, and if we go up here, our site has already been uploaded. So let's go ahead and open the link, and you should be able to see your clock app from anywhere. Okay, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.